Hello and welcome back to Visual Reasoning for Pro AV. We are on Module 6, and we're going to be looking at AI-assisted PTZ camera framing and just color correction in general. I'm colorblind, and 10% of men are colorblind. Color correction is something that is constantly an issue for Pro AV and broadcast when you're doing multi-camera productions. So I want to show how AI can really help us modernize these workflows. By the end of this course, you're going to learn how to use a reference image to guide AI feedback. So we can snap an image out of a camera, send it to AI, and get some information. We can have a reference image so we can say, hey, this is what I'm trying to achieve from a color perspective. This is where I'm at. And then it will start to give structured feedback on adjusting the iris, the shutter speed, the things that will help us achieve that color correction. We can get those tips directly through AI and vision learning models. So very excited about that. We're going to get structured feedback, and we've been talking about this. We want to get exactly structured feedback, meaning we want to know exactly what settings in the camera to adjust. So we want to know exposure, we want to know brightness, and we want to know all of these different things so that when we give the user the feedback, it's giving very clear direction on what needs to be changed to achieve this color. We can extract color values and do multi-camera color matching. And we're going to build human-in-the-loop AI workflows, meaning there's a human that is going to be reviewing all of this, right? The AI is just an assistant. It's helping us out. But we're going to use it as an assistant, and we're not going to be replacing humans here, especially with color correction. This is something so important. The big idea is that AI is basically your second set of eyes. We've got a human in the loop. AI is making suggestions. You're deciding if those suggestions are good or bad. As AI gets better, it's going to have better and better suggestions. But still, for this type of advanced color correction, we're going to need approval from humans to make that final call. We're going to give AI context about what good looks like. And that's what that reference image is. So here's the goal. Here is, I don't know if it's an ESPN sports broadcast or if it's a high-end podcast. Basically, people get paid tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of dollars to do special lighting and color correction and tuning. We can take the visual information from those beautiful podcasts, live streams, videos on YouTube, and use that and say, this is pretty much the style I'm going for. I'm not a lighting expert, but I know that I need to add some lights. I know that I need to tune my cameras, and then it will help you get that look and feel. So we can compare that to the video of your live camera and start to get information, feedback, and advice on how to get that. And as we make changes, we'll actually need to continue to send new frames to say, hey, I've made these changes. This is where I'm at. What's next? Am I doing good? Am I doing bad? And we've generated several tools to help you do this throughout the process. Now, another thing we're going to cover here today is framing. And so essentially, especially with PTZ cameras, but AI especially, can help us get feedback on, hey, is this person framed properly? These are really powerful tools. And I could see if you're hosting a live show or you're working with talent, you can just say, hey, go to this website real quick, add your webcam, and see if you are centered in the frame. See if you are abiding by the rule of thirds, and literally give like AI type information to your guests joining your live show, or even for anyone you're working with. It could just be a Zoom call. Do you have enough headroom? Do you have too much? Is your zoom level off? Is your angle wrong? We can get all of that feedback without having to get dragged into 15, conversations when you're hosting a webinar that you want people to look good on. Just send them this link. Boom, they get feedback immediately. Now, I want to give details for what we're expecting. So we're going to be building guide rails for feedback. And this is covered in the book significantly so that this feedback comes back reliable every time. So we're going to be looking at a color assistant in a moment here, and we're going to be asking for very specific feedback. Meaning I've got 2 different color correction tools. It's all open source. You guys can customize it, change it, put your own Moondream API key in there, deploy it however you like. But it's basically built to have a reference image and the current image. We're going to capture a current image, analyze it, and compare it. And then I've given some sample video for you to play with. but also you're going to analyze, compare, and adjust. So color matching can be challenging using multiple cameras, different colors, different camera models sometimes, different angles, lighting can vary, white balance can drift a little bit. So we often ended up with like multiple cameras needing a little bit of tweaking and tuning. And that's why there's so much color science, vector scopes, and waveform monitors that we have to work with in order to achieve good color. And this is really going to be, I believe, a huge shift in color correction is just getting, information, especially for a guy like me. My goodness, I'm colorblind. I need to rely on expert advice that I believe, there's so many variants in color correction. Is it your monitor? Is it your eyes? Is it the glare? And I think AI actually has the ability to remove a lot of those variables that are like the human elements of inconsistency and truly look at the color correction in a more scientific way. Still going to keep a human in the loop, right? So AI is going to make suggestions. We're going to make the changes. And we've been looking at this in the first couple modules. It's been highly automated. Now we're getting into module 5 and module 6 where we're doing more advisory, right? We're getting information, but we're making the changes ourselves because, it's subjective, right? We kind of know what we want and what we're shooting for. All right, so I'm going to jump into the GitHub project where we've built several camera assistants. It's going to be really cool. Very excited about it. So let's jump right in. All right, so there's two different tools you'll find in the visual reasoning playground. Now, I also wanted to mention that you may see I'm using NewTek NDI video as my video source. That's because I'm using NDI video sources in my network, and I'm using the webcam tool to bring those into a web browser for this experience. So if you're using IP video, check that out. It makes it very easy. I'm also connected directly to a PTZOptics camera. This is designed for PTZOptics. We've got two different tools here. One is for any camera. That is the AI Color Assist, which we'll look at in a moment. And then this one here, the tool number 9, the Color Assist, I built specifically for the PTZOptics cameras in the studio. So we'll take a peek at that in a minute here. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is we're going to click the Analyze Colors button. And you'll see here that we get an analysis. So the overall tone is cool, the exposure is good, the white balance is auto, and the dominant color is green. Well, we know it's working because I have a gigantic green screen behind me. But it's saying, adjust the white balance slightly toward green to increase the contrast. So we have all these modes here. I haven't built in white balance adjustments into this, so that's something I could do pretty quickly. But you can see here, and I will actually do that probably by the time you guys get to see this. But you'll see you can make these adjustments. Like I'll darken it and brighten it. You can see you can make manual adjustments here. From an educational perspective, you can see we're getting the structured feedback here, right? So we're getting overall tone is cool. Well, we map that structured feedback to the UI right here. Then we have exposure is good, and that would be something called prompting. And we haven't talked too much about that yet, but when we send our prompt to Moondream, hey, I don't need you to just tell me if the exposure is good. I need to tell you need to tell me if the exposure needs to be increased in brightness or decreased in brightness. So for example, trying to make it more accurate. Same thing with brightness adjustment. So there is a brightness adjustment. It says brightness adjustment 3. Well, what does that mean? Saturation adjustment 3. Adjust white balance slightly toward green, increase contrast slightly, and we're showing that in the UI here. But this tool can definitely be improved, and I'm showing it kind of in a state where we're not really even bug testing, but optimization testing and saying, okay, we're getting structured feedback. Do we need more structured feedback? Do we need to change what we're asking Moondream for so that it comes back in a more usable way? And that's the point of this course and what we're doing here. Now I want to show you another tool that we have here, and I am going to refresh it because there's some cool things that happen in the very beginning. And what we have here is 6 different reference styles. So what we did is we took some cool images and we said, all right, let's see, we want this to be more like a cool podcast. Now you can also, of course, upload your own image. But let's say, all right, we want it to look more like a cool podcast. This is my current image right here, right? So let's capture the current image. All right. That's the image that we are going to analyze and capture. And let's go ahead and compare the reference image with the current camera and get some feedback. Now we're getting some different feedback here. We are getting, okay, if you want to match this color, you're going to need to make it warmer. You're going to need to increase the brightness, contrast, etc. And then we have a comparison of the reference image versus the current frame. Now, again, all of these tools are open source, and I truly encourage you to customize these for your cameras, no matter what they are, whatever the API is. This space over here is a great spot to put those little those little options for, hey, sliding it up and down, et cetera, et cetera. Do I want buttons? Do I want sliders? Do I want it to continually analyze the images as I'm doing my changes? That's up to you. And I do think that continually, I would love to get your feedback, your comments. You can fork the GitHub project, et cetera. Like you can come in here, fork it, change it, make comments and updates. And I do believe that over time, this is going to continue to get better and better. And that's the key, I think, with AI, because this is going to be out of date by the time, you know, 6 months rolls around, right? So just remember, this is an evolving process. These tools are getting better and better. And I hope that in this course, you're learning the foundations of what's possible. You're getting hands-on code. And if you're seeing this in 2027 or 2028, check out the GitHub. I guarantee it's been forked. It's been changed, it's been updated, and thank you for contributing to what is going to be, I think, a really cool movement in broadcast and Pro AV. So some of the key takeaways here is those reference images are helping us provide context to get the best AI feedback. I think it's a great example of using an image off of a camera in a way that we can get structured feedback and really take action on that structured feedback. Those prompts, as you can see, are giving us pretty good actionable suggestions, but there's something that we haven't talked about too much. I mentioned it in this module, the prompting, right? When we send an image to Moondream, we're also sending a prompt, and we're saying this is the structured feedback we need. That needs to be tweaked over time. It needs to be tweaked for the type of camera you're using. It needs to be tweaked for the type of feedback you want to get. So it's interesting how that works, but human in the loop, especially during the design phase, right? Like if you're going to customize this, you are the human in the loop. But if you're going to start sending these tools to people that you work with, customers, people joining your events, and you want them to frame their images properly, then they are the human in the loop, and you have to build for that, make sure that they understand their role and the tools that you're building. So we looked at framing and color analysis. This is really, really popular for multicam consistency. Maybe your comment in the comments below is, hey, let's build a multicam color correction tool. And that would be a great idea. And I think that it wouldn't be that hard. We've got all the basis for that. The idea is to iterate and use the AI feedback to keep improving, whether we're improving our actual color correction in our cameras or improving the tools that we're delivering. Congratulations on completing this module. Next, we're going to look at some of these agentic workflows, really digging into the coding, because at this point, we've covered a lot of the core Pro AV and broadcast foundational kind of modes of thinking. And I really want to let you just open the hood, truly go over with you a visual reasoning workflows, the agentic AI workflows where you can have agents working on your behalf and coding for you, and using the visual reasoning harness, meaning a Pro AV designed harness so that you can harness the power of this AI specific to our industry. All right. Thanks for taking this course. It's been awesome. We just got a couple modules left. I'll see you in the next one.